Are you ready? Are you ready?
Thanks again for tuning into the big show. Yes, sir. I'm your host, Andres T. Thanks for tuning into Chalk Talk, airing on ESPN Radio 1017, The Team, KQTM FM, Rio Rancho, Albuquerque. And, of course, it's the Mixed Talk Radio podcast. And, we're going to climb to the peak of awesomeness. And, like I mentioned before, we're talking with an accomplished alpinist who is pretty inspiring. And I'm pleased to introduce to me today Kerr Adams. Did I say your name correctly, Kerr?
Yep.
It's spelled interesting, Kerr.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how'd you get that name?
It's actually a Scottish name.
Okay.
I was born in the UK. Both my parents are from there. Or my mom's from California. My dad's from there.
Okay.
And normally it's a last name. But I guess they're being a little creative and made it a first name.
All right. And so, you said you are from the UK.
Mm-hmm.
You were born there?
I was born there, yeah.
Okay. Well, you don't have a Brit accent.
I don't. I wish I did. A lot better luck with the ladies if I did.
Hello and all that. Hey, love.
I moved here when I was young.
Okay.
So unfortunately, it went away, and I moved to Texas. So I think.
Okay.
Moving there. And
Wow. So you go with the the English accent, and then you go with the strong American accent from Texas.
The strong Texas accent kind of sucked the English accent out of me, unfortunately.
Well, that's great that you're here and all that, and I'm glad that you're here. So
Glad to be here.
I mentioned the word alpinist. Now, explain an alpinist.
Well, an alpinist. There's a lot of definitions get thrown around.
Okay.
But the most common one is sort of incorporating all the aspects of climbing into one peak. So, rock climbing, ice climbing, steep snow climbing, all that kind of combined into one for one ascent of a peak.
Now, is it the same as a mountain climber, or is an alpinist more of an extreme kind of thing?
I would say alpinist is more of an extreme type of climbing, but you could say they're the same thing. In a sense.
Okay. Now, we'll talk about climbing in just a bit, but you do have an interesting childhood. As I mentioned before, you were born in the UK, came here when you were 6. Why'd you guys come to the U.S.? I know your mom, you said, was from California, but what made you guys come back this way?
Well, my dad, unfortunately, lost his job, and we were forced to move here, and he had work lined up in Texas. He'd worked here before.
Oh, okay.
So we just moved here.
You decided to come this way.
A little more financially stable here.
Okay. And now, when you moved to Texas and you got involved and you became an American, you you got involved in paintball, competitive paintball. I mean, everyone's into the paintball, the kind of thing. Talk about this.
Oh, God. It started off as a couple friends went out in the woods and played. And it just grew from there. I met into people that were into tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
One of my younger friends, his name is Ashton Johnson. We formed a team and gradually moved up from there. And he's actually playing pro now.
Wow. So pro does exist. Pro paintballing
exists.
Pro
paintball does exist. You don't make much, but it does exist.
And is this something that you were trying to do? Was trying to make it a career out of it? Were you wanting to?
It would have been nice. I was young. It was kind of a dream.
Okay.
It would have been nice if that worked out, but unfortunately it didn't.
Were you guys competing on a national level?
Yeah. We were traveling the country, and I got to go to a lot of cool places.
Did you get a lot of bruises?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Battle scars? Wounds?
Lots of battle wounds.
Okay. Now, when did you decide to move to New Mexico? What was it about New Mexico? Was it the land of enchantment that brought you here?
It was after high school. Unfortunately, my dad lost his job again.
Wow. Okay.
And he got offered a job here, and I decided to move with him. I was planning on moving out west anyway, so I could do more climbing, and it just worked out.
Wow, okay. Now, what does your dad do? I mean, I'm just trying to figure this out. He lost his job a few times, so...
He's an engineer.
Okay. So he's is he a specialized engineer? Is that what...
Yeah, yes and no.
Oh, okay.
Kind of dabbles in a little bit of everything.
Okay, gotcha. Now, you are currently a student at University of New Mexico, correct? Now, what are you studying?
I'm studying studio art right now with a minor in journalism.
Wow. Okay. I mean, you have an artistic ability. What you do photography as well. Talk about your photography.
Yeah, I started off photography when I was about 17, and I won a few awards, and it's actually turned into a nice little career itself. And I shoot for ABQ Sports Magazine now.
Cool.
Do a lot of work for them, and it's great. I love photography.
Wow. Okay. Is anybody else in your family a photographer or artistic, or are you kind of like the?
My dad's very artistic, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, he does. Wow. He did a lot of painting when he was younger, and a lot of work with wood.
Oh, okay.
He made some recreations of Picasso's work out of woods.
Wow, that's
impressive.
incredible. Yeah, Picasso. That's cool. Now, you were extremely into paintball. And when and why did you decide to call it quits and focus on climbing? I mean, or get started in climbing, perhaps?
That's a good question. Well, I've been climbing beforehand. As I said, I was growing up in Texas.
Okay.
So there wasn't too much outdoor climbing. I was stuck in climbing gyms. And then I moved here, and I started to continue my career. Got on with a new team, and we did quite well. We won a few events. And I just came to this point where it was, a little fork in the road, climbing, paintball, and unfortunately, I chose climbing, and it seems to be working out all right.
Now, did you do climbing when you were younger, like I don't know, when you were 6 or so? Or
I didn't.
Okay. When was climbing like? Okay, I want to just do climbing.
My first memory of climbing was with the Boy Scouts. We went to a climbing gym, and it was awesome, but I never really focused on it much until I was about maybe 17. I started going to the climbing gym a lot, and then I moved here when I was 18, and it just took off from there.
Wow. And does anybody else in your family climb, or?
No, they don't actually. My parents do not like it. I think they'd rather maybe a stamp collector or something.
They're like, yeah, go back to paintball, son.
Yeah, I think that was probably, to them that was a lot safer. It is. It's a very safe sport.
Okay. Let's talk about climbing and all its attributes. And you did bring some equipment here to show us. I mean, really, there's a lot that goes into climbing, and a lot of equipment and things like that.
A lot of equipment and a lot of money.
So go through and talk about what we have here.
So this is what climbers kind of refer to as their rack.
Okay.
Yeah. It's got a lot of different stuff on it. Different devices. A lot of these are called cams. Let me get one of the bigger ones here.
Okay.
And they're just designed to close up. They go into a crack and open up, and you use these to sort of protect a climb as you go up. So if you fall, the rope runs through these, and the rope catches you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And they range in sizes for different size cracks, and then these are really important. These are ice screws.
Okay.
For vertical ice climbing. They work the same principle,
Okay.
Screw them into ice.
Yeah.
And what else we got here? We've got some nuts. Get these out of here. They range in sizes as well. These are for more cracks that sort of constrict at the bottom, and you just wedge them in.
Okay. And these are just a bunch of different things to help from falling. Is basically.
Not necessarily help from falling, but helping you falling further.
Okay, there you go. because you're gonna fall sometimes. Is it?
Occasionally. My sort of rule number 1 is don't fall.
Okay.
But you never know.
Always be prepared.
The hold can pull off or something. Stung by a bee, something like that.
Have you had that experience before yet? Falling, whether it just even if it's a couple feet, or oh my gosh.
Occasionally.
Okay.
A little falls here and there.
Gives you a little get your heart pumping.
Yeah, well, the scariest moment is right before you fall.
Okay.
The fall itself isn't too bad. You're like, oh no, I'm gonna fall, and you're falling. That's not too bad.
Okay. What else do you got? You have an ice pick also, or?
Yeah, I have. These are called ice tools.
Ice tools. Okay.
These are actually very high-end ones. They're made out of carbon fiber.
Okay.
They're super light. You wanna check that out.
Wow.
And these are just for vertical ice climbing. They swing into ice. Picks are pretty sharp, and they have a few tools on the back. This one's for chopping ice if you need to. If it's
hammering. Cool.
Very weak ice on the surface, you need to get some stronger ice. You can chop that, and that's for hammering. And there's a device called a piton. It's just a small metal blade, and you kind of tap that in.
Awesome. Nice. Now, I mean, is this expensive? Does this stuff climbing is an expensive sport, would you say?
I'd say it's very expensive. I'm fortunate enough to work in the industry, so I get a professional discount with companies.
Okay.
But I know these are about $350 each.
Wow.
Retail price.
Wow.
And then The climbing, the cams and stuff range, they're about $60 each, and you need a lot of them, so.
That is a lot, and of course helmets, and you always have a helmet, and always safety gear.
Safety gear, various pairs of boots. I've got 4 pairs of boots at home. They retail.
You don't pull a Tom Cruise Mission Impossible climbing without anything?
No, there are climbers that do that out there.
But would you ever do that?
On very moderate terrain.
Okay.
I do sometimes because I know it's well within my ability, so I'm very comfortable just going up it without a rope. But there was a certain point where, that's a little too much for me. I'll put a rope on.
That is just incredible, and I mean when you get up there, I mean I bet the adrenaline rush is like none other.
While you're climbing, there's not that much of adrenaline rush. It's a very focused activity. I know a lot of people associate climbing with adrenaline, and it's that's not always the case.
Okay.
It's very relaxed and focused, and if I start to get an adrenaline rush, usually there's something going wrong. But once you get to the top, there's a huge adrenaline rush.
So it's a very patient and mind, very mental.
It is a very mental, yeah.
Okay.
There's a physical aspect to it, but a lot of it's mental.
Now, where did you start climbing rock routes and small peaks? I mean, what was your I'm ready to get out there and start climbing these things?
I'd say in New Mexico.
Okay.
The Sandias are in our backyard. I was going up fairly easy rock routes there. Then I went to Colorado and did some steep snow, like hard snow climbing, little peaks here and there. And then I went up to the Cascades in Washington, and then I did Rainier.
I bet that was
cool. Which is huge.
Yeah, no. I mean, we went to Seattle not too long ago, and you could see that. You see Mount Rainier right in the back.
It's big.
And it's just like huge.
I remember driving up to it, and I thought it was a cloud. I was like, it's a pretty interesting cloud. And I sat back in the 5 minutes, like,
yeah, that's the mountain.
That is the mountain.
Now, these experiences. I mean, what is it about climbing that keeps you coming back for more and doing it again and doing it again?
I get asked that question a lot, and it's really hard to find an answer for that.
Okay.
It's one of those things you have to experience to understand, but I love the camaraderie. I love meeting so many cool people. You get away from a lot of stuff, cell phone. You get cell phone service now, but I turn my cell phone off for emergencies. You get away from that. You get away from just a bunch of people, and you get to sort of test your own physical and mental abilities in a very interesting environment.
Yeah, unique, and you do dry climbs and ice climbs as well.
Yeah, I'm a pretty versatile climber. I'm certainly not the best climber in the world. There are guys that are really pushing the limits, but I think that's because they can climb full time, and I'm still in school. But we'll see what the future holds.
If only. Okay, you did climb and expand your challenges, climbing the tallest peak in North America.
Yeah.
Mount McKinley. Talk about
Mount
that.
McKinley.
That is unique and awesome.
Cool. Well, that was a couple of years ago. It was in 2010. I was about 20 years old. It was I wasn't expecting to go. It was maybe 6 months before the trip happened. I was like, why not? So I started training very hard. I think I was putting in at least 25, 30 hours a week training for the peak, which is probably a little bit overkill. Got the money, and then flew out to Anchorage, got up to a little town called Talkeetna, jumped on a little Cessna plane, not a Cessna, but a little plane, and then flew out onto this glacier and spent about 3 weeks out there getting up the thing.
That's incredible. Wow. I mean, did you have to have oxygen masks up there? Or
no, not for that height.
Okay, for that height.
Usually people put on oxygen masks about 25,000 feet.
Okay. And now, you were actually considered the second youngest Brit to climb Mount McKinley.
That's what someone told me. I think I was in the ranger office after the thing. Like, how old are you? I was like, 20. Oh, you're from the UK. Like, yeah. Like, I think you're the second youngest Brit to do. I was like, cool.
Wow.
I'll go with that. I mean,
I'll take the credit for that.
I never looked into it or anything, but that's what people told me.
Oh, okay. Now, you've been all over the place, all over the world. You've been to the Andes Mountains in South America. I mean, talk about that experience. That's got to be a unique one to go down to South America.
Yeah. It was my first experience guiding. After I got back from Denali, I was just sort of looking around at different companies, like, I could try guiding. And then I landed on a small company called Field Touring Alpine. Mm-hmm. and they offer a guide and training program. And I emailed them and sent my climbing resume and yeah, we'd love to have you on.
Okay.
I did have to pay a little bit, obviously. They weren't going to pay me to go down there, but wasn't too expensive.
Okay.
And I went down there and I spent 10 days doing the volcanoes and hanging out in town. It was actually a really cool experience because all the climbs are day climbs.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd hang out in Quito, the capital, and go out to dinner and dancing clubs and all that at night. And then during the day, we'd go climbing.
Wow.
Which is pretty sweet.
That is cool. Yeah, I mean, when you go out to these expeditions, do you kind of consider it a vacation? Or what do you consider it?
That's a good question.
I mean, because you're away from home, you're out of town. Is that a vacation to you?
It's a different type of vacation.
Okay.
It's a very suffering vacation, but I love it. I love every second of it. I can't get enough. I usually, when I come back from a trip, I actually get a little depressed.
Really?
For a couple weeks, I'm like, right after the trip, I'm like, oh, I'm glad that's over. But the next day, I'm like, I want to go back.
Oh, I want to be on the, yeah.
I can't get enough. I really can't.
But obviously you can't get enough because you even went over to Pakistan. That must have been a tough climb up in Pakistan.
Oh, yeah.
Up to Broad Peak?
Broad Peak. It's the 12th highest mountain in the world.
Yeah.
It's in northern Pakistan. It's right next to K2, which is the second highest mountain in the world. And that was about a 2-month trip total from leaving Albuquerque to getting back, and about 4.5, 5 weeks on the mountain. It was incredible. Just being in Pakistan in general.
Was it difficult getting into Pakistan to get to the climb because they're like, what are you guys doing here kind of thing? Or
getting my visa was tough.
Okay.
I called them. They're like, yeah, it's going to take about 2 or 3 months to get your visa. I'm like, no, it's not going to work. I leave in a month. But I eventually got it. Took a lot, but I did get it. Getting to the climb logistically wasn't too difficult. Okay. A lot of people there are cooperative. It's actually a big tourist area.
Oh, okay.
It's surprisingly, people think Pakistan, like, there's no white person goes to Pakistan.
No Americans, yeah.
But they're really, really warm people, actually.
Okay.
I'm very excited to go back. I'm not sure when it'll be, but hopefully. But getting to the actual peak was a little bit unique is the word. From Islamabad, you take about a 30-hour bus ride north. Okay. Nonstop, in like no air conditioning, no air-conditioned bus. It's hot 100 degrees, 99% humidity. Like you're just sticking to the leather. You're like try to sit up. You're like, help, pull me.
Oh, wow.
And you get to a little village up north, do some final shopping, things like that, and then a 6-hour Jeep ride, which is on the gnarliest Jeep road I've ever been on. Sections of road where it's just scree, and the road could just easily give out, and you plunge right into the Indus River, whatever river it is. There was one point where the driver actually had to drive up the hill, so he would slide back down onto the road instead of continuing down the hill.
Wild.
And now it gets better. And then from there, it's a tiny little village. I mean, village, no running water, nothing like that. And then it's about a 60-mile trek over loose, like, glacial moraines and stuff. Wow. And that took about 4 days.
That's wild.
And then we got to climb.
So then after the hot mugginess, you climbed up and it was nice and cool.
Nice and cool for the most part. Okay. We had a few hot days. Some days, if it's really sunny, the sun reflects off the snow and it can get 70 degrees up there.
You get warm. Mm-hmm. Wow. That is just wild. Now, climbing all these expeditions, all your journey, what has been your most memorable moment thus far in climbing?
Positive or negative?
Well, either one?
Either one.
Your choice.
Can we do both?
Yeah, let's do both. I'm interested, yes.
Positive. I'm going to say my most positive moment has been my most previous summer. Okay. Just the whole thing. I finally got to be a paid professional guide. It was an incredible experience. Some of the people that, it's for Shasta Mountain Guides in Mount Shasta, California. And some of these people that come to us, it's their lifelong dream to climb this mountain. And to me, it's a very easy mountain. I could do it in no time at all, no challenge at all. But for some people, they're very new to climbing, and they're very nervous and excited. And to get to the top of this thing is this lifelong dream, and they're so ecstatic. I've seen people cry up there.
Really?
And to sit there and go, wow, I helped you do that.
Wow.
It's been incredible. And I receive emails and letters about, oh, you're so, the experience was amazing. I couldn't have done it without you. And that's a great experience.
Wow.
Great
okay.
feeling.
And what about your negative experience? Like your
Negative experience.
Scary, perhaps, or negative? What?
It didn't happen to me. It was in Pakistan,
Okay.
and we actually lost one of our team members.
Oh, no.
He, we found him eventually. I shouldn't probably joke about that. But he fell from the top of the mountain about 900 meters,
Wow.
which is close to 3,000 feet, and he plunged into a crevasse, and we watched this happen from our base camp.
So you were watching him fall?
Yeah, at first we all thought it was a rock. We're like,
Uh-huh.
oh, it's a big rock falling. And then we got a radio call, and we're like, and someone said, oh, Houston, we have a problem. And the way he said it, we thought we were kind of joking, like, he made an Apollo reference. But it turns out one of our team
my
members had
gosh.
fallen.
I mean, but that that's the risk you guys.
That is the risk. Usually every climb I go into, I know that could happen. I do everything I can to minimize that, but
Prevent it.
there are always some objective dangers that you can't.
That's wild, and I'm sorry to hear about that. But
That's all right.
but I mean, obviously that's not stopping you. You keep going, and actually you're gonna be heading down to Patagonia.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
This winter.
real quick,
Or
talk
summer.
about that.
It kind of formulated. One of my fellow guides and I were sitting at a bar after our trip, and let's do something over the winter. Okay, cool. And originally we were going to go to Aconcagua, which is the tallest peak in South America, and the tallest or highest outside of the Himalayas. And then a week went by, and we were sitting at the bar again, and we're like, let's go to Patagonia.
Okay.
We're like,
Yeah.
all right, let's do it.
That's awesome.
Got our plane tickets, and
You're ready to go already?
ready to go.
We're gonna have to have you come back on when you get back to talk
That'd be
about
great.
to talk about that experience, because that's just got to be wild. So we'll wind down on time here, but real quick, talk about how can one who's watching, listening, get started in this?
Well, you can contact me. No, I'm kidding. Find people that know what they're doing.
Okay.
There are a lot of them out there. There's a lot of guides, some freelance guides in the area.
Okay.
I'm sure you could just Google mountain guides. Albuquerque, Sun Toucher Mountain Guides is in town.
Okay.
They're really good. There's some classes at Stone Age Climbing Gym you can take, and start small.
Start small.
Yeah,
and then work your way up.
don't bite off more than you can chew, because
And I'm sure you find a lot of people that try. Oh, I can handle it. I can do it.
a lot.
Very dangerous, also, as well as that. But yeah, definitely. Like I said, it's been an awesome time talking with you about your adventures, your expeditions, your journeys, and where can the listeners and viewers get more information on you and your journeys?
Well, you can find me on Facebook. If you just search my name, Kerr Adams,
Okay.
Kerr Adams. I'm probably the only person with the first name Kerr on Facebook, so it shouldn't be too hard. Or my email address, it's adamskerr@yahoo.com.
And of course, your photography website, you can go check that out.
If you, I just have a blog right now,
Okay.
but if you Google my name,
It'll come
all
up.
my websites should
It'll come up. Yeah, well, that's what I did when I was Googling you, trying to find you, figure out who you are. I was like, all right, and it popped up. So, but that's Kerr Adams, alpinist and expeditionist, I guess you could call you. I mean, thank you so much for your time and coming on and sharing your adventures and journeys with us. And hey, I had a great time. Thank you.
I did too. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. We'll catch up with you when you get back from Patagonia.
Sounds good.
All right. I'm your host, Andres T. Thanks for tuning in.